So in this lesson, I'm going to show you different kinds of nozzles basically available in the market, and then the ones that we will be using through this course, also for the piping practice and through the rest of the course as well. Okay, so the ones here, so these are the ones that you could get individually. You can just quote the numbers, or if you go to the baking supply store, you could just pick them one by one as how it looks, and then you know how it is going to come, and then you're going to use it for any of your cake. For that matter, we have some really bigger nozzles. This is a basket V, which I will show in these sets as well. But you could see that the really bigger ones, which does not come as part of the nozzle sets, then you could just pick them individually. Let me just show them at the end. So these are the boxes, set of 52 that are available, and it is also available in your local baking supply store and also on Amazon. In whichever country you are in, you could just get the nozzle set of 52. And if you have 52, then you will have quite a good variety of nozzles that you could use for most of the purposes in the cake decorating wherever you need to pipe. Now there are smaller sets, like maybe set of 6 and then set of 24, and you will have limited, say maybe if you need a ruffle nozzle, then there's just one, and then if you need to do basket weave, then that's just one size, and there's a bit of restriction in how you're going to use the the nozzles for piping. So the set of 52 will just be enough. And why I have two here, so this one is just a non-branded one, or then at least a baking supply store would just have a brand name to it. Or if you're going to search for an Amazon, then maybe the vendor's name comes along with it or something, but you can't be sure the number and how many of the rounds or how many of the stars or the specific designs what is there, what is going to be there in the box will vary between every other locally made piping sets, the nozzle sets. When this one what I have here is an Ateco, it's a branded one, and I'm not sure whether it is available in, say, at least in India directly, because this is not purchased in India, but ones who are watching from other parts of the world, and if you have the brands Wilton or Ateco available to you, then I would suggest to buy one of them if they are available to you. Now, the ones who do not have access to Wilton or Ateco, that is definitely going to be fine. And even if you have access to Wilton or the Amazon one, which is the locally made one, and if the cost is going to be like drastically different between the branded one, which is the Wilton or Ateco, to the one that is available on Amazon or any of your baking supply store, then if you don't want to spend so much, then definitely going for the locally made one is fine. You will have enough that we'll be needing for the course. But I'm going to use the Ateco, but we'll also be seeing through the nozzles in the other one, which is available in the Amazon or any other baking supply store. Okay, so you can just see, start here, these are the round nozzle. So round nozzle is nothing but ones that doesn't have any ridges, they're just plain round, and there are different sizes. Now usually the nozzle box comes in like really tiny one. So this one is the Ateco one, and this one is the one from the Amazon. You can see they are like quite tiny. The one in the Ateco is quite tiny. So I have another one in the Ateco which is like even smaller. The numbers are written there. So this Ateco is 00, but then it is okay. So this one is written FDA1, but then the numbers doesn't really matter, because the numbers in Wilton and the numbers in Ateco are different. So even if you're going to quote saying a 104 Wilton is basically a ruffle nozzle, but you're not going to find that in any of the other boxes. So we don't have to go by the numbers, we just go by how the nozzles look. So all the rounds here, so this one is from the Amazon one, and then a similar one on the Ateco looks like this. So these are basically for making bigger dots. Okay, so once you have the rounds done, and then the most basic that we will be using will be the star nozzle. So stars are basically ones that look like this. Okay, so there will be ridges all around, and they are most commonly used nozzles as well. Now if I need to pick a star nozzle from this one, it looks like this. Okay, so stars are of two kinds, closed and open. So what we just saw now, the open ones look like this. Okay, which means the opening here is like quite big and quite good amount of frosting comes out of this as you pipe because it is open, and then you have the ridges on the outside, the edge as well. Okay, and now how different is a closed one? So this is a open star nozzle and then this is the closed star. So there are ridges in the closed star as well, but then you can see the ridges, the top is closed inside, which means the opening is quite small and you will have like really deep ridges that gets piped as you're going to use this. All the more, the difference is with the open star nozzle, you will have quite a good amount of frosting that's being used up. And when you're using a closed star nozzle, you will have limited frosting coming out. So depending on the design, that is the first thing, you can decide whether you want to use the open star or the closed star, or say maybe you're just there at the end of piping or cake on the bottom edge and you don't have enough buttercream left, but you just need to pipe something up there, and then if you're going to choose a closed star, you're going to end up using lesser buttercream because it is closed and you have limited buttercream coming out of it. So depending on the size that you want to use, I'm just going to pick another closed star and another open star here just for you to see the difference. Okay, and another closed and an open. So this is another one. So there are quite a few different kinds that are available, and depending on the size and depending on the number of ridges. So this is an open star, right? And then so this is the difference between two different kinds of open star. And if you see, there are deeper cuts in the ridges, and in this the cuts are not very deep. So as you pipe through, then obviously the difference will be there. If you're piping using this one, then the ridges are not going to be deep because here the cuts are not too deep. Again, here you can see the cuts are quite deep, and if you're going to pipe using this, then your piping itself will have deeper cuts. Okay, so with that we have seen all the closed and open stars. Okay, so then the next thing that we will be using mainly is the ruffle nozzle or the petal nozzle. I have this one here, and there will be quite a few sizes. So this is a smaller one, and then an even smaller petal nozzle is this one. So how do you differentiate petal nozzle from the basket weave? I'm going to show the basket weave. So basically the shape is going to be like this. One side of the nozzle is going to be broad, which is this one, okay, and then the one side is going to be narrow. So that will be the petal nozzle as you want to pick. Okay, so one side is narrow on the top and then the one on the bottom will be broader, and that is very important for you to identify, oh, this side is my broader side and this side is my narrow side, because it will be very important as we get to that lesson where we will just be having the narrow side facing on one direction, and based on that is how your petals or your ruffles are going to turn up. So just identify all your petal or the ruffle nozzle. The next important nozzle is the leaf nozzle, the one that I really like so much. Also, I cut the piping bag and I use, and that is what I prefer the most. I will be showing that using this nozzle and the one that I cut through the piping bag and use, and we'll see how different they are. So right now for you to pick up the leaf nozzle from your set of nozzles is this one, which has a V shape, and there are quite a few sizes, like at least a couple minimum. So there are two leaf nozzles in your set of nozzles. Just identify them and we'll just be able to use them as we need. Okay, and Then we have basket weave coming in. So basket weave is quite simple, and the difference between the basket, the ruffle nozzle and the basket weave will be this: both the sides ends of the basket weave nozzle will have the same thickness, okay, but the ruffle nozzle on the other hand, you can see the difference. It is pointy on one end and then broader on the other end. Okay, so that's the difference between the basket weave and the ruffle nozzle. Okay, so I'm just going to pick up the basket weaves, all of them that's there in the set of nozzles that I have. Okay, so they are, the width is different. The difference is the width is different, is like broad and then a bit smaller, little narrow than the broader one. And the other difference is one side of the nozzle is quite flat and smooth and the other side is having the ridges. So you could just use swap between making the baskets, like all the horizontal lines could be plain one and all the vertical lines could be the ones with the ridges. But if you're just going to choose all your basket weave going to have like plain sides only, then you could just pick up the basket weave nozzle that doesn't have ridges at all. Now if you're going to use one side with the ridges and the other side smooth, then you could just pick up this nozzle. Okay, so we have the basket weaves counted as well, and depending on the brand that you use, you may have the grass nozzle or you may not have, but we are not going to do that in the piping practices. The only reason because the locally available nozzle sets does not have the grass nozzle. So if you have this, then you could use, but then because majority of them are not able to source a grass nozzle, so we're just not going to do that in the piping practices. So this is your grass nozzle, and the other ones you could just explore yourself because this is what we'll be mainly using through the course. And there are a few like this. I just want to tell the purpose of this. It looks in the shape of the moon. So basically they come in handy when you're going to pipe flowers or petals that look like the chrysanthemum flower. And so this one comes with one side ridge and the other one is like quite plain. So this moon shape comes in handy when you're going to have piping which involves petals coming out like a hemisphere or a semicircle shape. Okay, and this is also one such which has a moon shaped opening, and the set of 52, in case you find something like this, you'll not be using it for piping. They are basically used for filling your cupcakes. So if you have that, then that is a purpose that you will have to be using it, and if you don't have that, just never mind, you're not going to use it for piping. Okay, and you will find something like this and then another one like this. These are basically leaf nozzles because you find a V on the tip of the nozzle. But then I don't quite like how the leaf comes out of this nozzle, so I'm not using this much. But for you to identify and then know what is the purpose of this nozzle, so these are also leaf nozzles. Okay, and then possibilities that you will also find something like this, which is nothing but a ruffle or a petal nozzle, but instead of it being straight, it is going to have a curve. Yeah, so you could use that as a variation when you're going to use it for ruffles. And you obviously for the, this is a ruffle nozzle, right? So this one is like a quite bigger one, and then there are quite a few bigger nozzles, and this is a leaf because you know that there is a V in the tip, and then that is going to pipe out leaves. So that is as much as what we would be needing for piping practice. And however, Wilton 1M, so that is only one place where I just specify about the brand, because we need 1M for the rosettes. Okay. Now, if you are getting the set of piping nozzles that is not Wilton, so obviously 1M is not going to come in along with the piping sets. So let me just move on to the ones that I had got individually. Okay, so out of this I just want to pick up the 1M and show, because the rosettes are like that fancy, and if you're going to pipe the rosettes as exactly as they are, then that comes only as a result of using the 1M nozzle. And if you're not able to find Wilton, then the 1M locally made 1M nozzles are available in the baking supply store, and you could just get. But then there is Wilton 1M also available in shops where they are going to keep Wilton products, and you could just get the 1M alone separately as well. And it's not Wilton, but then locally made, that looks like Wilton 1M is also available. But then you just need to pick up a nozzle, which is this, and that is very important to have for us to make rosettes. Okay, so then the rest of the all others here, you can just see they are the open and then the close, but then obviously these are bigger. It's just for you to identify, and as and when you go on to your get your stash from the baking supply store, you could just pick up. You don't know, sometimes when you're going to decorate on bigger cakes, then these come in handy. Also filling cupcakes and stuffs, these bigger nozzles come in handy. You like one star piping, and then you're filling up your mini cupcake and you're done. So these don't come in the sets. Now these are individual smaller ones are also available. A brand called Noor that is available in India. So if you just have like maybe 24 set, or maybe you lost a few from this bigger set, which is the 52, and you just need one petal nozzle that is just gone missing from the bigger set, then you don't have to get another whole set, and then you have the access to individual nozzles like this, which obviously has a different rim. That's not going to fit in that box as well, but then obviously you get them that you could just source what exactly you want. Now that after watching through all the piping practice lessons, and you think using just a few nozzles, picking them up and then using it, that is also fine. But then we just need to have our tools and materials ready before. So suggestion is to have the set of 52 nozzles, and then we are good to go. After understanding the nozzle, let's get to the piping templates lesson and move on to actually practicing the piping.